Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Big Bang Theory Season 1, Episode 17, The Tangerine Factor. This is the final episode of Season 1, and we don't have to waste any time to figure out where the episode gets its title, because right at the beginning, Howard is with Sheldon in his apartment, and he is giving him a lesson in Mandarin. And we find out that the reason Sheldon wants to learn Mandarin is that he wants to accuse the local Chinese restaurant that they go to of using tangerines in their orange chicken, and he plans to ask them to show him their citrus peels. In true form, Sheldon is critical of Howard's teaching methods as they're going about it. Leonard eventually comes in and is followed shortly by Penny, who is very angry. She asks if she can use their window for a moment, and they say yes. She goes over and throws an iPod out the window, yelling at her now ex-boyfriend. Leonard asks what's wrong, and Penny says that the guy had posted details on his personal blog about their sex life. So Penny heads out, and Howard quickly sets to work trying to find that blog. Leonard makes a first attempt to go talk to Penny, and she says she doesn't want to talk to anybody. He goes back. Cuther comes in carrying the iPod that Penny had thrown out the window. It's damaged, but he says he's going to sell it on eBay. Leonard thinks he should make another attempt to go talk to Penny. Sheldon doesn't think he needs to, and Howard thinks he should take it as an opportunity to try to feel Penny up, because of course Howard does. He is a very creepy little man. So Leonard does make another attempt to speak to Penny, and this time he's a little more successful. He gets in, she kind of explains the situation a little bit more to him, and in the process of trying to comfort her, Penny starts to think, oh, maybe she reacted too quickly and she needs to give the guy another chance. So she thanks Leonard and heads out to do this, and Leonard is upset because he feels like he's lost an opportunity here, because as he told Howard, he wasn't going to take advantage of Penny, but if she was interested in him, he wasn't going to deny it either. Back at the apartment, a fun note here is they're playing a board game on the coffee table. The game they're playing is called Talisman. It's a pretty fun game. I've played it myself, although this is a very long game with a very lot of rules to remember. I would recommend the board game, but I would not recommend starting to play this if you don't have several hours to kill. Eventually, Penny walks in, and she's very angry. She yells at Leonard, saying thanks for his stupid advice, so clearly things did not go well. So Leonard decides to make yet another attempt to go over and talk to Penny. He does, and she apologizes for yelling at him, saying it wasn't his fault. She reveals that when she got to her ex-boyfriend's house, he was sleeping with another woman. Penny's upset, and she doesn't understand why she keeps getting into these situations, and she says she needs to date a nice guy. And Leonard hears this and takes the opportunity and says, why not him? Since he is a nice guy, and he sees the opportunity and asks her out. And surprisingly to him, Penny actually says yes. She says yes, she will go out with him. So the next day, Penny is feeling nervous about the fact that she said yes to Leonard, and she sees the opportunity to talk to Sheldon about it, so she does. She talks to him on the way up the stairs and then invites him into her apartment, and then they run into a little bit of a problem. Penny wants to talk, but Sheldon realizes he hasn't spent a lot of time in her apartment, and he does not know where he's supposed to sit there. So while Penny's explaining her worries to him, Sheldon is walking around the apartment trying to decide where is the ideal seat for him, and he eventually finds it in the swivel chair that's near Penny's kitchen. He did go through several options to get to this point. So Penny has basically expressed that she's worried about ruining their friendship. So Sheldon actually does offer some good advice. He explains that their situation is similar to the Schrodinger's cat experiment. In that experiment, there's a cat placed in a box with a vial of poison, and the box is sealed, and the poison will eventually break, killing the cat. But until the box is open, nobody knows if this has happened yet. So the cat can be thought of as both alive and dead until the box is open and reveals what the truth is. So Sheldon equates this to them and the fact that they don't know what their relationship will be like at this point. It could be either good or bad. They won't know until they try. It's actually very good advice, even though Penny might not be the most receptive audience to this particular example, and Sheldon might not be the best person to try to explain it to Penny in any case, because the next day, Leonard is also very nervous about the pending date with Penny, and he's not sure if he should go through with it. So Sheldon gives the same advice. He tells Leonard about Schrodinger's cat, and Leonard immediately says, oh, that's brilliant, because Leonard is the right receptive audience for that exact analogy. So when the time for the date arrives, Leonard arrives at Penny's apartment. He goes in, tells her he's made a reservation. She says she wants to talk to him first. And Leonard says instead, asks her if she has heard of Schrodinger's cat. She says she's heard far too much about it. And so in the moment, he decides to go for it and gives her a kiss. And she says, well, the cat's alive. Let's go on the date. So this isn't their first kiss, but this may be the first one that gives a big reaction like that. And after trying all season, Leonard is off on his first official date with Penny. We did see way back in episode 3 that Leonard tried to take Penny out on a date in that episode, but Penny didn't know it was a date, and at the end, Leonard denied that it was an attempt at a date. So we're ending the first season on a high note for that. We've seen Leonard all season trying to find a way to ask Penny out and get to go out with her, and now he's done it. He's achieved it. He's going out on a date with Penny, and we're not going to know how that ends at this time because the episode ends at this point. We then get a final scene with Sheldon in the Chinese restaurant trying to demand to see the citrus peels so he can figure out if it is indeed orange chicken or tangerine chicken, even though he is not speaking proper Mandarin and they don't really understand him properly. And the manager basically says, call the police, he's a crazy person. But a fun closing. So that is the final episode of Season 1. It's Season 1, Episode 17, The Tangerine Factor. This is a very good episode to end the season on. I like a lot about this episode, mainly that we see this major development in the Leonard and Penny saga. Leonard has tried to look for and seek out opportunities in other points in the season, but for large portions of the season, Penny was with another guy. And as we've seen in other episodes, Leonard's not the most confident about this sort of thing, but it's nice to see that he took the chance and it's paying off. He's getting that date with Penny. And I like that it ends on a cliffhanger with this because he goes on the date with Penny, but we don't know how it's going to go. At this point, we have to wait and see till we get to the beginning of Season 2. This show has some brilliant cliffhangers at different points throughout. They always lock you in, so you have to be ready for that first episode of the next season to see what was going to happen. I also very much like the scene with Sheldon and Penny talking in Penny's apartment because the friendship and relationship between Sheldon and Penny is one of my favorite aspects of the show as it develops and goes on. They are two very different people but grow a very strong friendship, and I think it's the fact that it's just a friendship is why I like it so much. There's no romantic interest either way in that situation. This is a very solid episode that I would score at a 9 out of 10. I hope you've enjoyed these reviews of Season 1, and keep an eye out for the first episode of Season 2 that will be coming soon.